All right, welcome back. Engel versus Vitale. All right, our context for this case is that provisions of the U.S. Constitution's Bill of Rights are continually being interpreted to balance the power of government and the civil liberties of individuals. So power of government on the one hand versus civil liberties on the other. All right, so in this case, students attending public schools in New York were required to recite a non-denominational prayer each morning. So non-denominational means that it wasn't for a particular religious sect or religious group. It was a prayer to a God, a monotheistic singular God. But beyond that, it didn't go into specific religious practices, so they felt like they had written a prayer. It was written by the school board, in fact, so they thought they solved this by it not being overtly for one religion or another, but that'll be up to the Supreme Court. So does reading a non-denominational prayer in school violate the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment? That is going to be our question. And the holding is that states cannot hold prayers in public schools even if participation is voluntary and the prayer isn't tied to a specific religion. So a student could have opted out and simply not said the prayer, but even if that's the case, even if it's voluntary, and even if it is non-denominational and not specifically one religion or another, schools still cannot do that public schools cannot do that. Obviously, private schools could, but state-sponsored public school prayer is going to be unconstitutional. And the constitutional principle to support this decision, well, there you go, that's what I just said. State-sponsored prayer in public schools violates the Establishment Clause. Through the 14th Amendment and incorporation, both states and the federal government are prohibited from officially backing religious activities. All right, so there's a little bit to unpack there. So first we have our Establishment Clause. That's where it says that Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of a religion. We know that that has also been interpreted to mean that Congress can't promote or disparage religions. So because of the Establishment Clause, this is saying that state-sponsored prayer in public schools is not allowed. It violates that principle. Even though it's not promoting a specific religion, it is promoting religion in general, or belief over non-belief. Therefore, it is in violation of the Establishment Clause. The other part, the second sentence, is getting to our incorporation doctrine, because remember the First Amendment, like I just said, it said Congress shall make no law. So this is now saying that this is one of those fundamental rights that the due process is talking about. So it's incorporating the Establishment Clause and saying that therefore states can't do this either. All right, so some key quotes from the majority opinion. This is saying that the constitutional prohibition against laws respecting the establishment of religion must mean that it is no part of the business of government to compose official prayers for any group of American people to recite. So that whole idea of the school board writing this prayer and making sure it's non-denominational, they're saying that's not the job of any government employee. So even if we're talking about local government here, this right has been incorporated. It is now effective on the states, so they cannot promote a religion. They go on to say why they feel like this is so important. They say that this is one of the greatest dangers to freedom of worship or establishment, free exercise, is the government placing its official stamp of approval on one kind of prayer or one particular form of religious services. So this is that part about even if it's voluntary. So even though the students weren't required to say that prayer, this was still the state of New York approving, essentially putting its official stamp of approval on a specific type of prayer. And so that is going to, they say that's a danger, a threat to the freedom of the individual to worship in his own way. And so this is going to, again, they're just showing why this isn't allowed. And then they say, again, because this prayer is so brief and general, that there's no danger. Well, it may be appropriate to say in the words of James Madison, it is proper to take alarm at the first experiment on our liberties. In other words, even if you're not worried about that specific prayer, you're like, well, that prayer wasn't so bad, there's no big deal. Madison says it's proper to take alarm at the first experiment on our liberties, meaning, yeah, the first time, it might not be that big a deal. It's not like it's saying to pray to a specific God. It's not like it just banned a religion. But this is how it begins. So they're kind of using essentially a slippery slope argument here, where they're saying we should still be concerned at the first bit of those liberties being taken from us. The dissenting opinion says, the justice here, I cannot see how an official religion is established by letting those who want to say a prayer say it. And actually goes on to say that the opposite is happening. Denying the wish of school children to join in reciting a prayer is to deny them the opportunity of sharing in the spiritual heritage of our nation. So there's your dissent for Engel versus Vitale. All right, don't forget, subscribe, hit the like button for me. This has been a La Money production.